If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it, and I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, 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 yeah.
4 races down and 4 races left in the playoffs for Sim500's NC811.org Grand National Series, and we go to a pretty big one to kick off this round of 8 racing. Championship 8, if you will. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the corner of 16th and Georgetown. We get ready to rock and roll for round number 25 of the season and race number 1 in the race for the championship. 8 drivers, 4 races, 1 champion, and it all starts here at the Brickyard this evening. Happy Sunday. I'm the captain. We welcome you in as we get ready for some 80 laps of Grand National racing here, 200 miles on the 2.5 mile yards of bricks. It's not technically 2.5 miles of yard of brick. That's terrible English, but who cares? Anyways, we're going to have some fun here tonight. It is the 811 Grand National Series from the Brickyard. Let's get you the point standings as we go into tonight. There's your 8 that will race for the championship. Pedro Mojica, Kevin DeBrown, Tyler Dalton, Stefan Marinick, Chad Coleman, Tommy Ryan, Doy Woods, Anthony Calantoni. They're all tied in points. So the most scored points out of the 8 drivers will be deemed the champion of the season. So, of course, those guys will be labeled over in the timing and scoring, so you'll be able to see who is who and who is running where when that time comes. Of course, it's been 2 weeks since we've been on track here for Sim500's Grand National Series. What has happened here so far the last couple of weeks? Well, it's been some good racing, and it's not been what you might think has been happening. And of course, it's been the Pedro Mojica show for most of the first 18 or so races, but then as we worked our way into the playoffs, some things started to kind of change. And what I mean by that is not that Pedro wasn't running well. He's ran well. However, we've seen some others go to victory lane, like Tyler Dalton, who went to the victory lane at Pocono. And in Richmond, Larry Pace dominated that one. And then, of course, we went to the race before the holiday in Michigan. Kevin DeBrown goes to victory lane in what was somewhat of a controversial finish, as we went into the elite to the championship 8. But during that race, you had a lot of drivers like Pedro himself, who had a big lead, kind of saw it diminish, and he had to get in there and race a little bit to keep himself alive. But now everybody resets in that top 8, and they get to go starting here tonight, Indianapolis. The other 3 races in this 4-race round. Indianapolis tonight, Homestead next Sunday. The following Sunday, the 24th, will be in Daytona. And in Las Vegas Motor Speedway, will crown the champion October 1st on Sunday night. And the reason why this season's a lot less races than the Cup side on Mondays is, well, look what started today. Just going to be quite blank honest there, as people like to go watch football on Sunday. So that's why we have 4 races left starting tonight. And in the Cup side, we are about to start the playoffs actually here in a week or so. But the cars out there on track, wrapping up practice here in just a moment. It's going to be some interesting strategy tonight, because I've been hearing drivers talk dirty air. I've been hearing drivers talk fuel mileage. I've been hearing drivers talk about the racing out there on this track with the speeds and the draft and stuff. So I think it's going to be interesting tonight. Some people might try a one-stopper here. I can tell you right now, it's going to be very tough to do and almost impossible to pull off here. So if somebody can do it, more power to them. But right now, we're going to go to qualifying for the race. And, of course, our qualifying tonight presented by 811. No, it's below. Call before you dig. So as per usual, we'll go out here and find a car that's going to get out there on track and get a lap in here pretty quickly. It looks like first one out of the group. I think we're going to go Stefan Marinick here. Oh, look at that paint. The Miami Dolphins paint scheme. Miami with a big win over LA today. Sorry to spoil that for anybody who was recording it and didn't think a streamer would spoil it for you, but yep, I did. Oh, and Stefan into the wall. Let's hope he don't have a Tua concussion. Pause. Sorry. That was a bad joke. All right, here's Eric Arnold. And he's in a Bears paint scheme. I was unaware that they're doing paint schemes for football teams today. No, they're not. Just a couple cars, obviously, showing their support. So as per usual, if you're new to watching, the cars are the green you see on the screen down at the bottom there with the timing. That means they're on a faster lap run right now than their previous lap. The purple there you see on Eric Arnold is he's on pace for a pole lap. Well, Eric's going to be the first one across the line, so I would hope he's on pace for a pole lap to start with. As Eric drives it off turn 4. I would think the first lap probably going to be the fastest here for you. We'll have to see, as he will lay the first time down. 53.05 for Eric Arnold. I know they were running 52s earlier, so I don't see that holding up. 53.30 for Hudson, 52.98. Wesley Donaldson. Here's Tyler Dalton, Mr. Pole Sitter. And P2, 52.99. Kevin DeBrown. Goes P4. Steve Ritter, P5. Out of the 12 cars, now 11 cars, or 13 cars that have qualified, got about 24, 25 cars entering this race right now. Let's see who else is out there running laps. Here comes Marinick, going to cross the line finally to start his lap. Oh, Tua got the wall again. Let's go to our Giants car. So we got the Dolphins, we got the Bears, now we got the Giants. The usual iRacing default weather, so the track is going to be very slick. All right, Calantoni crosses the line. And it looks like he's P15, so not a good qualifying lap for him. Let's see who has not put a lap down. Oh, this should be a good one here. Thomas Lewandowski in the 20. Let's put up a timing and scoring and see what... A little bobble there, 160 mile an hour. Turn 2, always tricky. Some reason you always get tight through turn 2. 4 corners, all of them 90 degrees, all of them banked the same, but yet they drive all different. For Thomas, this will be his first lap, so see Wetzel in purple there. Oh, and qualifying time ran out, unfortunately. You only get 5 minutes to run yourself a lap. So the pole sitter tonight, I believe, did I read that rightly? Going to be Wesley Donaldson. As I mentioned, the pole award tonight presented by 811. Notes below. Call before you dig as we look at the results of qualifying here. And it is Wesley Donaldson by 8/1000ths of a second over Tyler Dalton. Congratulations, him. Eric Arnold, Glenn Campbell will be row 2 with Kevin DeBrown, Steve Ritter in row number 3. Now let's bring up the driver of the 91 and have a quick word with the pole sitter for tonight's race. Wes, nice job, man. Congratulations on the pole, 1/1000th of a second. You outrun Dalton to get the pole here at Indy.
Yeah. Kind of surprised myself a little bit. I didn't think I was going to be able to get pole, but I hit 1 and 2 like perfect. And anytime you're faster than Tyler, you know you're pretty quick.
So obviously 80 laps tonight, 4 corners. So that's if I do the quick math, it's 320 turns you have to do at this track, and you make 320 perfect turns to get to victory lane.
I don't know about perfect, but I mean, hopefully we can end at the spot on the board where we are right now. That'd be fantastic.
Well, it should be a lot of fun, man. Congratulations on the pole. Don't give any credit to your Casper the Ghost Spotter, and go do your best to try to win this race.
He's not here tonight. So
well, that explains everything.
Joey's not here tonight,
right there.
So everyone pretty much knows the rules.
Well, good job
don't have a
tonight.
restart zone here.
Thank you,
so the
man.
initial
Wesley Donaldson on the pole. Hey, y'all go pick on me now for quote unquote wrecking the field on Friday nights. Man, that's a joke with all of us. But good lap on Wes. I'm sure Jason has helped a little bit, even though he's doing his best Casper the Ghost tonight. As we show the starting lineup here for the race, it is Donaldson, the Illinois driver, going to be on the pole. Alongside him, Tyler Dalton, the pole king of the league, as the cars roll off. Hey, I made up for it last night. It's okay. Eric Arnold, Glenn Campbell, Kevin DeBrown, Steve Ritter, John Higman Jr., Chad Coleman, Doy Woods, and Stefan Tuatagavaloa Marinick in row 5. Pedro Mojica will start there in row 6 alongside the 15 of Joe Hudson. Seth Foudy and Bob Gillenwater, Callan Tony, Jeff Ryan there in row number 8. Row 9, Ron Holyfield, Thomas Lewandowski, and the rest of these guys did not get a qualifying lap in. Josh Parker, Bobby Wetzel, Doug Sigmund, Josh King, Brian Wortman, Gerald Livingston. So, there you see the guys heading down the back straightaway. As we take a look at the race information tonight, it'll be 80 laps on this 2.5 mile track, 79 degrees, 53, partly cloudy, 2 mile-an-hour winds. That is the iRacing default weather. As per usual, track temp at 115 right now. And as per usual, the race tonight presented by NC811.org. Thanks, man. Have a good night at work. As pace car will hang a left. And there you see the yard of bricks that the cars will be racing for as they come to the start-finish line and begin the Championship 8. 4 races, and we'll crown a champion in 3 weeks in Vegas. But first, we have to conquer Indianapolis. The battle of the 1 and 9. The 91 inside, the 19 outside. The reciprocals, if you will. Dalton going to try to hold down Wesley in that outside lane. Draft's going to play a big role. Our camera tonight presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com is their website. Eric Arnold going 3 deep in the 3, as I think some might have expected that. Arnold does like to be aggressive. He did back out of it. Smart move on his part. And I'm not saying that was a dumb move to make that move, but sometimes you're going to make an aggressive move, sometimes you don't. Off turn 4 it is. Wesley leading lap 1, but the battle on for second. As Arnold inside of Dalton. He will clear. Glenn Campbell there up to 4th. Kevin DeBrown up to 5th. John Higman there in 6th. You see the letter P next to the 8 drivers that are left in the playoffs. Basically, the one who scores the most points in the 4 races will be the champion. You see Marinick to the inside there, making a pass on Doy Woods, bringing Chad Coleman with him. 36 of Seth Foudy there also. As per usual, Seth has helped us out. That is not Seth. This is Seth. We ride on board with Seth. Turn 2, you see Dalton kind of sliding up there, sliding back. Oh, wait, that's not Dalton. That is Kevin DeBrown. Sorry. The wrong white car. Falling back there on the outside lane. I'm curious to know what Seth is listening to in his ears. Can you see the pods? I wonder if he's got music on there, or if that's maybe what he uses for Discord and stuff when people talk to him, or in-race chat. Interesting. So the one thing I've been told in this race is that the draft is a pretty big deal, and dirty air is also a big deal. So it's going to be very tough to pass. As you see, Ritter get passed by both Marinick and Coleman for position. Donaldson about kissed the wall off of a turn 1. As everybody kind of scatters out a little bit here. The battle back here. Josh Parker working inside on Foudy now. You see Bob Gillenwater and Bobby Wetzel there, and that Kevin Harvick, number 9. We ride with Bob. Got to be very patient on the throttle here, especially through these corners. In turn 2 right here, it's very tricky, very easy to wash out to the outside wall and lose a lot of momentum if you stay side by side, and that opens up the door usually for that 3rd car in line to make a 3-wide move, but in this case they did get single file. Up front, Eric Arnold. Inside of Donaldson. Donaldson holding that top side on him. You can make that outside work a little bit, especially holding off another car. Donaldson holds off Arnold for the lead at this moment. Dalton back there just kind of saving his tires, I think, as much as possible. As you see the front 5 kind of separate out a little bit here. Arnold just going to try to draft. See if he tries to pull back out. He does. As Wesley almost got the wall, had to get out of it, and Eric Arnold's going to take the lead. So Eric Arnold here at the front. In the first lead change of the night as they cross underneath the start-finish line in the yard of bricks. As Arnold continues to lead here, he's got 2/10 over Wesley Donaldson. Tyler Dalton right there behind him, about 6/10. And then you got Glenn Campbell about 1.1, and Kevin DeBrown 2 seconds back. Pedro Mujica. As a matter of fact, this is how tight the draft is. You look at the top 10 cars, all within about 4 seconds of each other. Right now, you see them all lined up right there. So as long as you can stay in the draft, I mean, you can maintain here in the first 10 laps, and I'm sure handling here is going to start kicking in here in the next 2 or 3 laps. So 9 laps complete. The reason why I bring up 10 laps is, from what I've been told by the drivers in practice, is it seemed like the quote-unquote car fell on its face after about 10 laps. So I think you're going to see handling really come in. Tires do play a role at this track. It's not one of those where, like the open-wheel cars, you can go out there and pit early, like right now, and get yourself into a one-stop race. It just isn't possible with the way the tires wear in this car. But you do got to kind of try to conservate them a little bit, or conserve. I think that's the word you're trying to look for, Scala. There's my English again. Steve Ritter there in a 16 car running 10th. Got Josh Parker there behind him. And you wonder if Donaldson might have hurt his tires a little bit there early in the run, because already falling back about 7/10 of a second. He's actually starting to fall in the clutches of Tyler Dalton. And Dalton's going to pull out there. Here he comes inside to see if Wesley lets off and lets him go, which is a traditional Indianapolis move here. He does let him go, so move Tyler Dalton up to second. Tyler won at Iowa just a couple weeks ago, as he's had a very successful season. He's had his ups and downs, but being able to go to victory lane multiple times in a season, obviously, got to be a good feeling for you and a good confidence booster, as Tyler's always been a guy that runs fast for one lap, but unfortunately finds ways throughout races to either be involved in an accident or have something stupid happen or whatever. Let's jump back here as Cal and Tony, Steve Ritter, and Josh Parker, all these guys battle it out for the right at the top 10, I should say. As you see, Parker, as per usual, works his way up through the field. He said he was going to stop doing that in the Cup side because of the playoffs going to be starting here soon, so he'll be getting up there in qualifying, which is scary. I don't think I've ever seen him actually run a qualifying lap. So as I've always invited, if you're watching and you race in one of the other leagues that I broadcast, or if you're in this Sim500 league, I've always invited you, feel free to share a link or whatever to a camera or something that's on you during the race, as we can add onboard shots. I obviously have already showed Seth Foudy and his onboard camera. You can see him on the track. He is actually, and I got to see if this is going to work or not, been nice enough to put out 2 cameras here tonight, and I'm going to see if I can get the other one to work for me. And well, I get a backward shot here. Hey, there's a spotter back there on the teeter-totter, or whatever they call that thing, you need to swing. You got a face shot, and then you got the shot from the backside. I know he's setting up different cameras and stuff. I got multiple cameras myself I could probably do, and eventually I might just do that. But you see Seth really a different style of holding that wheel. He's got a kind of 9-3, checks on his spotter back there. Isn't really turning the wheel too much. You got the whole lean with it. I see he's using the, what is that, Race Labs, I think it is. But Seth right now, 15th position. There he is going by now. So not only is he checking the rear view mirror, but he's checking behind to make sure everything's okay. Multitasking. So Arnold, 0.2 of a second lead over Tyler Dalton. Glenn Campbell has now moved up to 3rd. Wesley Donaldson has fallen to 4th. And Kevin Brown, your top 5 is Kevin starting to work his way up in there. And you see Pedro Mejica, Chad Coleman, a little bit of a team name trio there, running 5th, 6th, and 7th. There's Coleman with Marinick there behind him. Josh Parker. John Higman there behind him. As they go through the south section of the track. Here you see the Brickyard Crossing Golf Course. All of $150, I believe it is, a race or a round of golf there. As a battle here for 5th, now 4th. As Wesley continues to fall, so he must have hurt his tires, maybe a lower steering ratio, or just drove the car too hard. And Wesley's fallen back to 6th. Which leads to the question from my end, for those to think about. And I appreciate, by the way, those who are watching here tonight. Hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. If you're not, go share the link with some friends. Let's get some people in here and have some fun here on a Sunday night. And I know obviously there's other things going on. But the question I have to ask, it's an 80-lap race. You're short on fuel with it being a 2-stop race. So do you shorten up the laps you go during the run? I mean, you can go about 35 on a tank, so it's 35 and 70. You run the race backwards. You got 80, you get to 45, and then from 45, you get to lap 10. So we're in the window already. Do you pit here at 20 maybe, and then go 30 to 50, and then go 30 to 80? There's so many different options you can do here, and if you're somebody that's not in the playoffs, what do you have to lose? And speaking of, I just thought about my thought in my head was, yeah, it'd be nice to have Kevin here beside me to kind of get his thoughts on this. But then I wanted to take a moment to say, hey, Kev, if you're watching, hope you're doing well. He went on a trip down to Florida or something, had an emergency situation. So I have not had a chance. I'll probably reach out to him tonight or tomorrow. But Kevin, if you are listening, my man, hope you're doing well. There's a chance he'll probably not be here tomorrow night. So But hopefully he's doing okay. He had, like I said, an emergency situation. He seems to be okay, which is good. But he's been good to have on the side on Mondays with me, is to help me out, kind of getting his side of things, talking modified racing and that kind of thing, and some of the conversations he and I have off the air. One of these days, I'm going to keep our microphones on the whole time, even during commercials, so you can just hear what we talk. It's so funny. We'll sit there and just laugh and joke and that kind of thing. And the best part's when Kevin goes and like gets something to drink or some food or something, you'll hear him pop the top on a drink or whatever, or be chomping on something in my ears. So lap times have fallen off almost 2.5 seconds here in the 18 laps. So that's when I tell you that these cars are falling off time-wise. Track temp up to 127 degrees. As we see Campbell and Dalton rolling there behind Arnold, who's led the most laps here so far. He and Wesley Donaldson, the two leaders so far in this race. As we come up on a fourth of distance. You've got the top 19 cars all within 6 seconds of each other. So this train, it almost looks like an IndyCar train or an open wheel train. All the way back to Jeff Ryan in the NC811 car. Literally 19 cars from 1st to 19th lined up within 6 seconds. Which I find to be phenomenal. Voodoo Racing number 31 got his hands full with Dalton. Goes down to the bottom just to more be defensive. Not really a block when you make the move first. A lot of off-throttle time here. Pretty deep entry there, I should say, for both those guys. They got in there pretty deep. And you saw the nose plant. Tyler getting down a little bit lower there at that white line, which is going to help him get the run here. He might have a little chance here. Let's see if Eric protects. He's not going to be able to make the move here. Or is he? I was going to say that's a pretty late move by Tyler, but hey. And you see him there. He lost the nose there. Go down lower here in the car and watch the difference in corners here. All right, so Tyler is down there below that white line, and you see Arnold is actually staying up above the white line. Believe it or not, there is a little something there below that line, but you want to stay off that, I guess, lighter shade of white, because that's a rumble strip and can get your car loose. Tyler is more trying to get that nose into the air a little bit. That's why he's getting down there. But Eric's doing a good job carrying the speed through the center. Oh, Eric got tight there. This could be it for Tyler. That little bit right there is the air that he needs, but Tyler had to get out of the gas because of Eric getting out of the gas. That might help Campbell now behind him. Here, let's flip to Tyler here. And I can show you. Oh, goodness gracious. He about ran over Eric. That was not where I expected the nose to be when I flipped. Tyler had to get out of the gas, about got the wall. And that's going to allow Campbell to go on by. The move, Glenn Campbell to second. You see Stefan Marinick making a move around Coleman, I think that was. See that? He was trying to hold him off, one of the two. Here's where I miss somebody like Mike Kelly. One of those guys that likes to kind of go off kilter with the pit stops. Eric Arnold's one of those guys, but being a leader, I don't know if he really can. Well, what we'll do is we'll step away for a quick second here as we are under green here so far, caution free, 23 laps into Indianapolis. The championship 8 has begun. And who will be the first to put their name? Actually, we're going to hold off because Eric, I think, got the outside wall, and Campbell's going to take the lead. Look at that. Glenn Campbell to the front, the Rhinestone Cowboy. I want to watch that, how that got set up there. It looked like, yeah, Arnold got really tight in 4. He got way too high there, kisses the wall, lost the momentum, and Campbell was just able to shoot right past him on the outside. All right, as promised, let's step away and we'll come back, get you more racing here from Indianapolis. You're watching Sim500's NC811 Grand National Series on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
All right, back we are here at Indianapolis. Bobby Wetzel has come to pit road in the 9 car. I think that's going to be the first scheduled pit stop. And as I mentioned, somebody's got to go off kilter a little bit with their strategy, and that's exactly what he's done. As Campbell leads over Eric Arnold, Tyler Dalton, Kevin DeBrown now, and Pedro Mojica, your top 5. And Wetzel leaving pit road now, 23-second stop, so he must have had some damage on his car. He's going to go a lap down. As Kevin DeBrown going around Eric Arnold. So Arnold might have burned his tires up a little bit. As Dalton going to go to second. Eric's going to fight on that top side. 2 aggressive drivers here side by side. Hey, little, hey, how you doing there? You see Wetzel coming out of pit road over there in turn 2. Oh, they're leaning on each other a little bit there. Kind of squeezing the 93 down. Very dangerous move on older tires. But it can work if you make it work, as Wesley blinks out a little bit. And Marinick going to his inside now. Pedro might have to make his move here. And here comes your pit stop. Stefan Marinick going to be the first. Lewandowski coming in. Seth Foudy coming in. The tightest pit road in all of stock car racing is right here at Indianapolis when it comes from the width of the boxes. As the one enters his pit stall, should be 4 tires and fuel for these guys. Lewandowski having issues getting in. Four tires and fuel. Dan Marino calling the shots for that one car today. Former NASCAR owner Dan Marino, by the way. 15:02 for Marinick. Foudy leaving his stall. Lewandowski, who had the issues getting to their stall. This is at lap 26. Here comes Tyler Dalton, Kevin DeBrown, Wesley Donaldson, a bunch of cars here. This is a majority of the Sim500 Mafia guys, but I do see some team names sprinkled in there. Now, the one thing I did mention about these cars in a recent broadcast, and let's see if we do it here in this race, is you can actually... Yo, Wesley! Too deep in his stall and his night gets worse. But you'll be able to see these cars swing out in one and come back to the access lane through turn 2. And most of them really didn't go out that wide. You really don't need to, but you can if needed. As Mohica, Doy Woods, Jeff Ryan come to pit road now. Leaders, the gold 44 up there at the top of the screen, FYI, on the map. So you can see everybody that's pitted, for the most part, has stayed on the lead lap. Which is why, if you're Glenn Campbell, if you're Josh Parker, Eric Arnold, you guys are fighting with fire right now. And somebody's wrecked at pit road, destroyed the nose. That's Higman. Eric Arnold was coming to pit road when that happened. Not sure what all transpired, but John Higman Jr. Or that's not John Higman Jr. Who is that? Parker? Oh, it's Parker. Never mind. I'm sorry. Josh Parker has unfortunately destroyed the wall coming to pit road. I thought it was Higman for a second. They both have black cars, so I apologize. No caution, as they must have kept it. Where's Josh? There he is. Let's see what happens here to the 81. I mean, he knocked a fire out of the car. Do we have it? Oh, an Ari Leyendyke impersonation here. And I say that for those who have never seen the IROC race here, where Leyendyke destroys the car right there. It just loses the back end and hits the inside wall. And you know what? That was a great move by Josh to pull down, because that kept the caution from coming out. If he goes back on track, and now the caution is out. This might not be the caution Glenn Campbell wanted. Oh, and I must have put the old jinx on Mr. Higman, because it is for John Higman Jr. Got Josh King there behind him. And Higman's going to... So, Higman did the same thing that Josh did. Roughly a minute before or after I said Higman wrecked. That's kind of... Did I just predict that or something? Is that like a weird prediction type of thing there? What in the world just happened? I'm sorry I'm laughing, but I'm like, So caution's out for the first time. Hey, how's that work, Casey? You gotta help me out on this one. I called... Oh, so here's an interesting prediction, situation. So Campbell's going to pit here. So is Wortman. So is Sigmund. I think if you're Stefan Marinik and those guys, you got to stay out now, because you only have 3 sets of tires to work with. I mean, you can maybe come top off the fuel tank, but I think for these 3 right here, they just kind of put themselves in a little bit of a box. How long was the race, by the way, Friday night, Case? Was I anywhere close on the time? All right, so yeah, Marinick and those guys do stay out. You got a couple, looks like Joe Hudson's come to pit road. So you're going to have these guys pitting at lap 32. They're going to have 6 lap, or I'd say about 4 to 5 lap fresher tires, which is, believe it or not, a big deal. But it is so tough to pass that now Campbell's got to come from 15th all the way through the field to make this happen. So Marinick leads. And you see the rust bucket there in front. Josh King, the 35 car, will get a wave around. So will Jared Livingston and Ron Holyfield. And then Marinick there, Stefan Tua Marinick will be the leader. Kind of an odd thing here to think about, as I was just, you know, when I see something like the Marinick car, I start thinking of the history of like the Dolphins. I think of Don Shula, and then I couldn't help but think Don Shula, where he used to coach before he was at Miami, and that would be when he coached the Baltimore Colts, who abandoned Baltimore and moved to a town called Indianapolis. How everything circles or rectangles around in this case. So the top 5, all playoff drivers. And then your first one outside the playoffs in the top 10 is Seth Foudy there in 6th. Bob Gillenwater, Thomas Lewandowski, Eric Arnold, Wesley Donaldson, your top 10. After what could be the weirdest caution in Sim500 history. And it's only weird because of what I called for the caution. All right, pace car pulls in. Get those speakers turned up. Except for you, Atomic Burrito. You're at work. Might be a little rude. As we get the green flag. And turn it up. They might have woke up the sleeping giant. Pedro Mojica to the front as he gets around Stefan Marinick. Now this is where I tell you tires could play a difference. Pedro Mojica pitted 2 laps after Stefan Marinick and was able to get to the lead. Marinick was one of the first cars to come to pit road, so that's how he was able to jump up to the front. But I have a feeling he might lose a little bit here with the older tires. I could be wrong, but I may be right, as that song says. Of course, Pedro did win the Cup race here a couple weeks ago, and it was the start of his destroying of the Midwest, basically, winning at Chicagoland, Indianapolis, Kentucky. Tomorrow night, actually, you're going to want to be here. Let's put it like that. It's a dash for cash race. Money on the line for 4 drivers from Daytona. Here we go. How about 2 historic races, huh? Here at the Brickyard tonight and in Daytona tomorrow. And the final race before the playoffs start. So tomorrow night is going to be a wild one. Matter of fact, I'll try to get the points saved on a screen here to show you guys before the end of the broadcast tonight so we can preview what is to come tomorrow night in the 811 Cup Series. As you see Eric Arnold trying to work his way through the field. I can't help but think about the first time I lived in Indiana. I went to a Bulls game. I was it was Derrick Rose time and stuff at that point, so I was watching Chicago a lot. Growing up a Jordan fan. And Chicago played Indiana, had pretty good seats. We left the place, and everybody was going off on Indianapolis about how the Bears were better that night. I was like, well, this conversation changed quick. Thought it was kind of comical. And, of course, yes, we were all cheering Let's Go Bulls by the end. So tomorrow night, Daytona. We'll see you at around 8:15 Eastern Time. Of course, it was Brian Macklin going to victory lane back in the opening race at Daytona, in the 300, or the 500K, I should say. Can he sweep Daytona, and will we have some drama going into the playoffs? But we also got drama here because this is the first race of the championship 8. 8 drivers racing for a championship over the next 4 weeks, starting tonight here at Indy. Next week it's Homestead, then Daytona, and then Las Vegas to crown the champion. And you see the P next to the letters of the guys in the playoffs. You see, what's that, 5 of the 8 right there in the top 10. As Arnold looking inside of Coleman now. Eric Arnold, you wonder how's he making these moves? Well, he pitted at lap 29, so he was one of the later cars to pit. This is where I tell you that just a couple laps on tires at this track is making a difference. Let's check on Glenn Campbell. Campbell's really not been able to go anywhere as he goes inside of Jeff Ryan, and he could be saving his tires a little bit there as he takes a 13th position. And Glenn is the best of those who pitted under that caution right now. So obviously, he's got a lot more work to do. Arnold making a charge inside for second. As Chicago passes Miami. I think their numbers are backwards, by the way. And I say that because Chicago has pretty much had one owner the whole entire time. It's been a family, where the Miami Dolphins have about 31 different owners. We check on Seth Foudy running in the 6th position. So that's a little different driving than me. I don't like to do the whole 9 and 3. I mean, sometimes at like a super speedway race, I'll put my hands at 9 and 3 just to kind of chill, like, because most of the time I run in the back, so I'm hanging out. But when it's time for me to go, my hands are up at 10 and 2. But everybody's got their preference. Let's check on the spotter here. No, it's not rocking anymore, so maybe the spotter has woken up. I really need to get trips. I've never had them, if that makes you feel any better. My dad had them, but it seemed like every other week I had to try to help him or get a buddy of mine to try to help him put like the trips together, because like one screen would mess up the other, and because you can't do I think that's Calantoni pulling out back there. It opens actually Lewandowski to his inside. Let's see if he lets him go or if he's going to fight him into one here. But you always have them, like, they're set up to, like, because obviously a one screen, you got 1920 by 1080, but then you got to multiply everything by 3, so it's like a 59 something by whatever. Then you have to, like, go into iRacing and do a whole bunch of stuff. I'm just like, that's too much work. There's the front row right there. Wesley Donaldson, Tyler Dalton, 8th and 9th. Wesley led some laps early, but then unfortunately the parachute came out on that car, and he went backwards. So the pit window is going to be opening here very soon. They still got 2 sets of tires laying in the pits. The question is, when do you pit here? I would say that the cars that might be at a disadvantage, like Stefan Marinick, like Seth Foudy, Lewandowski, those guys that pitted at 26, maybe they're going to be the first ones dive in there and get 4 tires on the car. But again, I almost have to think here that with the tire fall off, you almost have to just run this tank out and then take tires. But if you do that, you're looking at pitting somewhere around 10 laps from now or so. 10, 15, or 10 to, 15 laps or so from now. Ooh, Campbell and Gillenwater almost getting into each other as Glenn starts to work his way through the field here. Anthony Calantoni there in the 84. Of course, his New York boys are playing tonight against the Cowboys. And I read on Twitter, apparently Jason Garrett was on Sunday Night Football and picked the Dallas to win, which I found interesting. No, cannot confirm if he had his arms crossed or not at that point or was clapping. So Mojica leads by 4/10 over Arnold, who's got 4/10 on Marinick, who's held on to third, believe it or not. Two cars out of the race, Josh Parker, John Higman. I do still apologize to John Higman for mixing him up with Josh Parker. But at the same time, I don't feel bad because John Higman did what Josh Parker did after I called him John Higman. I know it sounds confusing. Dowdy sliding up the track a little bit too high in turn 2 there, and that's going to open the door. Lewandowski going to get drafting help from Dalton. Seth's going to have to fight here a little bit. He's not going to be able to really yield this spot to Lewandowski, or else he's going to lose 4 positions, so sends it in there pretty deep. Ooh, Tyler getting a little wobble. See if he can get the run off turn 4 here. He might be able to 3 wide this thing, but no, Foudy gives Lewandowski the spot there, but the momentum of the car, Tyler loses a little momentum too here. This is all about momentum. If you can keep in the throttle off that corner, you can make the move to the inside of the other car, but unfortunately for Tyler, he got a little loose again. And it kept him from making the pass. They are skating around this track. Steve Ritter back here, 16th position. Following Jeff Ryan in the 811 car. Doy Woods, unfortunately, the worst of those in the playoffs right now. Bobby Wetzel's come to pit road. And for Bobby, I believe he just took a no, he's still in on pit road here, so never mind. I saw his time go 8 seconds, so I thought it was only a 2-tire stop. Yeah, he just got to his pit stall, so never mind that. I don't think you're going to see a 2-tire stop tonight. Let me just put that out there, unless we get to the end. First of the playoff drivers to pit road, Doy Woods. The 28 car coming at 28 to go. Every time I see the 28 Haviland car at Indianapolis, one of those stories I have to share. And it's actually a good trivia question for those who don't know. True or false? Davey Allison ran laps at Indianapolis. And if anybody ever answers false, tell them no, you're wrong. Back in 1993, before his passing, NASCAR conducted a tire test at Indianapolis. Davey Allison was one of the drivers. 4 tires and fuel, 15-second stop for Woods. As now Kevin DeBrown's going to come to the pit road, so another of the team name guys, along with Jeff Ryan coming in. Very important that you're smooth on and off pit road here, especially with how tight this pack is. Four tires and fuel, Kevin pulls away. 14.6 for Kevin, 14.9 for Jeff. So there's 3 cars that have come to pit road here, and you see, oh, here comes Stefan Marinick, Thomas Lewandowski, Seth Foudy coming. Oh, contact! Dalton and a Foudy into the inside wall they go! Was there any communication on pit road there? I have not heard much in-race audio, so I don't know if I'm muted or not. Haven't had a chance to check. I know I muted myself earlier during pre-race, so I cannot confirm or deny that there was communication between those drivers. But we'll see the replay here in a second as Marinick leaves and others, but that did not look good. Let's go back to it. Dalton gets in there pretty hot, and he had to get inside the cone. My guess is that Tyler did not. That's so wrong. Let's go on board with Dalton. Did he not expect Seth to check up that much? And in fairness, the 36 does not have a baby on board sticker on his car, okay? Okay, I do have comms on because I just heard Coleman say he's pitting. And Tyler's is coming in too hot there. I don't know. It's a tough break there. And here come the leaders to pit road. So Coleman and Mojica in. It's going to hand Joe Hudson the lead. That's the, third incident coming into pit road we've had. It's always a good reminder when you race, no matter what, if it's league or official, practice those entrances on pit road. Even if you do practice, sometimes it don't work either, in fairness. Let's see, as Mojica and those guys come out of the pits. There go what are going to be the leaders right there past. And it looks like it's Kevin DeBrown that is leading that pack right now. It's Stefan Marinick. And there goes Lewandowski by. Gerald Livingston on pit road, and there's your leader now in the 15 car. The Global Industrial, I should say. Number 15. Got a little bit of a, I mentioned Dan Marino on the Dolphins car there. That has shades of the old Bill Elliott, Dan Marino, Jerry Nadeau car. The 13, the old, what was it, First? I can't remember the sponsor on it. The car is actually over here in Dawsonville. I saw it, one of the model cars. So So Steve Ritter is second, by the way, right there. That is a battle for the lead as Hudson gets loose. Doug Sigmund, Josh King, Brian Wortman, the 5 who have not come to pit road yet. And Stefan Marinick just made the pass on Kevin DeBrown for what will become the eventual lead of this race. Wesley Donaldson making a move inside of Dory Woods for position. And here comes Joe Hudson to pit road. I want to go back to the incident with Dalton and Foudy coming to pit road. Because there is a way where I can actually show you the speed of the 19 coming in and see if there's any chance. Give me a second here. Let me back it up real quick. So let me click on, let me switch this over to replay mode. Right there. And let's see if I can get the speed pulled up of Dalton. Maybe I can't do it, but still. Yeah, it's not working, unfortunately. I guess my question is, would Dalton have made it to pit speed? I mean, I'm thinking he would, because I'm sure he's practiced that move, but unfortunately, we'll never know. All right, so Doug Sigmund now leading this race in the 04 car, in the Pro System 04. With 20 laps to go, Brian Wortman still yet to pit. And then from there, Stefan Marinick's pulled away to a 1.4 second advantage over Kevin DeBrown, Eric Arnold, and Pedro Mojica. Those three are together, and then Lewandowski's trying to tag on. But there's Marinick. He's trying to run away. So this is the situation. See, earlier in the race, we got that caution, what was it, about 4 laps after most of the cars had come to pit road, and I had thought Campbell and those guys are in a box. This situation with Sigmund and Wortman now, we have gone long enough. See, 54 now, we're at lap 61, 7 laps, 8 laps. If these guys can go another 2 or 3 laps, you're almost 10 laps into a run. These guys could steal track position and make these other cars come back to pit road for tires, and then gain. These guys would basically set up themselves to have one more set of tires than the others as they go by Brian Wortman right now with 18 to go. It's a bold strategy. But if you can get it to work out for you, it can work. Wortman giving himself plenty of room. Matter of fact, putting himself in the wall. And I think Doug Sigmund's going to call himself to pit road here. As Sigmund, 4 tires and fuel for him, and Brian Wortman is now the only car left out there to pit. But here's, again, the benefit for Sigmund. He can go pretty much as hard as he wants now. And he has the freshest tires of the group until Wortman comes to pit road. Get whatever you can get. 18-second stop, so not the best there, but Sigmund rolls away. So Stefan Marinick now leading this race as Mojica up to second on Eric Arnold. As these guys trying to draft their way back up to Marinick. Yet next week, Homestead Miami Speedway for race number 2. The 811 Grand National Championship 8 round. Where Mojica now looking to the inside. Looking to win both Indianapolis races. Marinick's going to race him hard here. The obvious favorite to win this championship is that 58, but anything can happen in these races. And there goes Mojica inside for the lead and takes it. Question is, can Marinick tag on and hold on here? So the top 3 holding on here. You see Eric Arnold's gone by Marinick now. Kevin DeBrown about 2.8 seconds back. Thomas Lewandowski and Chad Coleman. 14 laps to go still. Everybody's made their final pit stop except for Brian Wortman, who's still on those tires from lap 33. Got a real good run there off turn 4 here as he looks inside of Kevin. As Wortman finally goes to pit road, 13 laps to go here. Kevin going to fight him on the outside. I was going to say, is Chad going to make the move? Here we go. That's that momentum. Kevin going to cross them both over. Chad, shallow entry there into turn 4, protects that bottom, keeps the position. Lewandowski's going to squeeze the 93 now. Good stuff. I've never seen a 3-car crossover. That's interesting. But then again, I never saw a 4 wide at Dover no Friday night. All right, 12 laps to go. Let's step away one more time here. Hear a word from our sponsors as you're watching Sim500 in race number 1 of the Championship 8 in the Grand National Series on the Captain Esports Network.
If recent storms have caused damage to your property, contact 811 before you begin your cleanup. Buried utilities around uprooted trees can make a bad situation worse if those lines are not located before digging. Electric, natural gas, and internet lines are everywhere, and knowing where they are is the safest way to start any digging project. Call North Carolina 811 by dialing 811 or by using single address ticket on nc811.org or the NC811 app.
Back we are here as we watch the fight go on for the 4th, 5th, and 6th positions. Chad Coleman holding off Lewandowski, holding off Kevin DeBrown as we have 11 laps to go this time. Pedro Mojica leading here at Indianapolis. Got about a second on Eric Arnold. Stefan Marinick there in 3rd. And of course, we go back about 3 weeks ago at Indianapolis when the Cup Series came here. And it was Mojica that went to victory lane in what has been a pretty dominant stretch of Cup Series racing from him. And I kind of talked about it before the race. Pedro started winning on the Cup side, and he didn't really have the best runs on the Grand National side. And you got to wonder if that kind of put that spark in him to say, hey, I could lose this championship, just like, you go back to last year when Daniel Falkingham ran. It was Daniel for the first 20 races of the season. Then Pedro started winning, and then Daniel ran into a wall of trouble and ended up losing the championship. I don't think that got in the back of Pedro's mind, but you never know. But the field pretty spread out now. Marinick trying to hold on to Eric Arnold. And Lewandowski, Kevin DeBrown there with Chad Coleman. You watch that battle for a minute there. Glenn Campbell has only been able to get up to 9th after that caution that put him in place earlier as he was leading. Kind of set him out on that island like a road course race. Joy Woods running in 10th right now. He'll be ready for Homestead next week. He's usually pretty solid on those worn out surfaces. Joe Hudson having a good run, 11th position there. And that is actually a battle for position here is Steve Ritter inside of Anthony Calantoni. And if I'm Anthony, stay away from the TV right now. That's all I'm going to say. That Talking Giants podcast is going to have an interesting one to talk about. There's Jeff Ryan, 14th position for him. He's about 4.5 back from Calantoni. He's got Bobby Wetzel there behind him in the 9. Bobby's not had the best of runs tonight. A little scrape there in that Goodrich number 9. Gerald Livingston, as I said, as we continue to say, it's good to see him back here on the track. He's been having some big-time health issues, but obviously anytime you can get back out here on track, cool to see Gerald here. Never really ever had a chance to talk to him, but hear nothing but good things. Seth Foudy, tough break for him tonight, running up in the top 5, and he had that collision with Dalton coming to pit road. And Seth's going to finish 17th. On the comedy side, let's check. Oh, he's driving like me now. Doing the whole one-handed thing. That's me at a super speedway right there. Just one hand, I'm good. Kind of doing a Harvick impersonation there, putting the left hand down. Nah. Seth's keeping at it. Good for him. relax. Doug Sigmund here, 18th position for him. And then Josh King back here to 35 car, running 19th, the Rust Bucket as I like to call it. And Ron Holyfield back here in the 20th position. Ron's kept the car clean. And then unfortunately just went a lap down Tyler Dalton. Tyler gonna, unless something changes here in the next couple of laps, will be unfortunately the worst finishing driver of the playoffs. And he's going to have a little bit of an uphill climb now to get to these guys up here. I did notice that Brian Wertman, his last stop, unfortunately, he ended up losing a few laps or something. Not sure exactly. Oh, you know what? He made multiple pit stops. So I wonder if he forgot to put his tires on again or something. But it looks like he had to make two extra stops there and has lost 3 laps in the race. So again, let's set up everything coming up here tomorrow night, Daytona for the Cup Series. Join us at 8:15 Eastern Time as we will have 20 drivers after tomorrow night's race be in the playoffs for the Sim500 NC811 Cup Series Championship. That'll kick off at Darlington a week from tomorrow night. And of course, these guys back at Homestead next Sunday night. 4 laps to go. Just taking a peek over here at the Cup Series standings in the 2023 season. And remember, there's the rule over on the Cup side that the drivers must run a certain amount of races where it's not in the other series like that. So basically, drivers like Tommy Ryan, I believe, is right on the bubble of being able to run all the races. And a couple others, but as I look down at 20th position, there's 1 point separating Montesi and Campbell. Doug Roth is right there. And Joe Hudson could fall out. Joey Jatina could fall out. I mean, plenty of things can happen at Daytona tomorrow night. So you're going to see some real interesting racing, I think, tomorrow night at the old Speedway. You see Dalton letting the 2 other drivers go by. Apparently it's a good night to have NFL on your cars. As Mojica comes off turn 4, 2 laps to go, 5 miles. As he looks at win number 12 on the season. And oh, by the way, Pedro won last season's race too. So he'd be looking at back-to-back Grand National Series wins. He goes through the north section of the track down to turn 4. And onto the front straightaway that runs parallel to Georgetown Street as the one hits the wall. And the white flag will come out. Final lap for Pedro Mojica. as Mojica works his way down the back straightaway. See if Marinek's got enough to get to Arnold back there for second. But for Pedro, as I said, he started getting that momentum going on the Cup side. Had a little bit of a rough first round of the playoffs for the Grand National side. He did get a win, though, in that part, but had some rough runs, too. But he's going to kick off the Championship 8 with a win at the Brickyard. As off of turn number 4, here he comes. Pedro Mojica for a second straight season wins at the Brickyard. Arnold holds off Marinek for second. Chad Coleman and Thomas Lewandowski finishing in the top 5. So Mojica will have a slight point advantage over Marinek, who will be second. Coleman will be third. Kevin DeBrown be fourth. Doy Woods will be fifth. And then it should be Callan Tony. He did a burnout on the bricks. Good burnout there by the 58 as he goes to victory lane. As we take a look at the final results from the Circle City. For those who don't know, that's the nickname of Indianapolis. There's the city in the background. Lucas Oil Stadium over there to the right. Wesley, that's qualifying for the race. Sorry for those cheering on Wesley. Just got teased for a second. Mojica wins by 9/10 of a second over Eric Arnold. Stefan Marinek finishes third. Chad Coleman fourth. Thomas Lewandowski fifth. Kevin Brown, Wesley Donaldson, Bob Gillenwater, good 8th place run for him. Glenn Campbell comes back to 9th, and Doy Woods gets a top 10. Joe Hudson 11th, Steve Ritter 12th, Anthony Calantoni 13th, Jeff Ryan, Bobby Wetzel, Gerald Livingston, Seth Foudy ends up 17th with Doug Sigmund in 18th. Josh King, Ron Holyfield, Tyler Dalton 21st, Brian Wortman 22nd, John Higman Jr. and Josh Parker, unfortunately 23rd and 24th. In the race. Came down to strategy and pit stops and fuel mileage a little bit. Of course, that one caution threw a big curveball into everything. But let's talk to our third place finisher, and that being Stefan Tua Marinek. As Stefan, good third place finish for you this evening. I know obviously you wanted to get that win to kick off the playoffs, especially being in that Miami car. Obviously we're in the number 1 today. I want to make sure you don't have any concussions from the wall hits to start with. But 2, great run for you finishing third.
No concussions.
Good.
Came out of it clean, just like Tua did today, so that's good. Yeah, it's a good finish. It's a good way to start out the final 4 races of the playoffs. Obviously, it's going to be a little challenging to get behind Pedro in the points. He's been the strongest car all year, so it's going to be pretty tough to make up anything on him. But my strategy in this race was just to kind of short pit and keep the track position as much as possible. And I did that with the first pit stop. I don't know what happened with John Higman, but then the caution came out and lost a little bit of track position. And then second pit stop came back in a little bit early before everyone else, and it seemed like they caught me, and then right when I got into their draft, I was able to keep up with them, but I couldn't do anything at that point. But third place is good. Could definitely be a lot worse.
Absolutely, could have been a lot worse. And yeah, you did get caught out with that caution that happened there. And just explain to the fans. I kind of brought this up. You were one of the first to come to pit road in both stops that you made. How much did 1, even 2 laps make a difference on tires?
I think it was like 2 seconds a lap. But if you don't get enough of a lead coming out of the pits, I mean, they catch you really fast, like 1 or 2 tenths a lap. But yeah, the goal was just for it to go green, and then we had a lot of space between us and the cars that we were racing, because it was just that opening run. I think I started 10th, and I think I was quite a bit faster than a lot of the people that were in front of me, but I just couldn't do anything. It was really hard to pass. And even Pedro, who was definitely the fastest car, he was having some trouble passing on the opening run. So I figured maybe if we could get into the pits before everyone else, get a little bit of a lead, and then play defense, that would help. And it did. It was a net positive. I gained 4 spots over where I was before. So it just wasn't enough to keep the lead.
Well, still, it was a great effort, and as you said, a great start to the playoffs. Looks like it'll be P2 as you go into Homestead next week to race number 2. So great job on that. Send some shout-outs to whoever you like to.
Yeah, just thanks to all my teammates at Turn 3 Heroes. Thanks to everyone at Sim500. And then thank you, Chris, for doing the broadcast.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, and we will see you tomorrow night.
All right, see you.
That sounds good. Stefan Marinick, the third place finisher here tonight, led some laps, and had a good start to his playoff run here in the Championship 8 round, if you will. As there's his channel, we'll get him down to there. And let's get our second place finisher here tonight, that being Eric Arnold. Arguably his best run of the season, I think you could say. Racer from Complete Race-wise. Let's bring up that Chicago paint scheme up here as he wins the battle of the NFL paint schemes, but unfortunately does not win the race, finishes second. Eric, I think we could argue that this might be, at least on our broadcast, Captain Esports Network Sunday and Monday nights, your most complete race that you've ran so far this season, but congratulations on the P2.
Thank you. I really wish I could have won that. Those opening laps, I was feeling so good, just pulling away a little bit, but I think I burned the right front out a little bit quicker than I thought I would.
Well, the one thing I thought about is obviously you had to pit strategy and you had to work your way back through the field there after the caution there that kind of messed some things up. And I use Glenn Campbell as an example because Glenn started even further back after that caution. And you were able to kind of work your way up through the field where Glenn, it seemed like it took a lot longer. Now, it might be a different driving style too, but how tough was it really to pass?
I actually figured it out pretty easy. I was able to diamond the corner just right and be able to get on the gas sooner and use the little portion of the apron below the yellow white line to turn the car. But yeah, but I got lucky with that pit cycle because I was coming down pit road and Josh Parker was ragging him. It's like, crap, I hope I don't he clobbers me or anything. No caution came out, and then the caution came out while I'm changing my tires. I'm like, hell yeah, I just got a big break.
Well, hey.
But that helped too, is having those fresher tires.
No, absolutely, and that's the kind of break you need, especially here at a track like Indianapolis. So it worked out for you, man. You got yourself a P2, and want to send some shout-outs to whoever you'd like to.
Well, my beautiful pregnant wife is watching,
Congratulations.
so to her, thank you. And I don't think I have any family watching tonight, unfortunately, but
Your wife
thanks
is.
to you, she definitely is. But thanks to you, Chris, for broadcasting, and obviously Joey and Sim500 and all the admins.
Absolutely. Did you figure out who Rashawn Salam is yet?
Nope.
Okay, we'll work on it. Great job tonight finishing P2.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Eric Arnold finishing in the second position tonight. And a great run for him. I'm going to probably have to message him a Wikipedia page after this broadcast. For those who don't know, Rashawn Salam was a Heisman Trophy running back from UCLA, I think, but played for the Chicago Bears back in the day. Unfortunately, passed away at an early age. All right, let's talk to our winner. They wore number 31, by the way. Let's talk to our winner tonight. 12 wins on the season. I won't know for a couple weeks if I can mention the word Andrew Luck around this city. But he does have a dozen official wins on the season here. As Pedro, welcome back to Victory Lane. I kind of referenced a couple of times this season. I mean, you made a comment back on the Cup side about a month and a half ago. You were like, man, I need to win more of these races. You went out there and you put a string of 3 together, but then in those 3 races, the Grand National side kind of had issues. And here you are back tonight to kick off the championship round with a win.
Yeah, Chris, yeah, the last couple of weeks were kind of rough. A lot of it was just strategy or issue with equipment or whatnot, but luckily we had a lot of points and we were able to fall back on that to get through the next round. But yeah, coming in this round, I pretty much, with Daytona, one of the 4 races, you practically, need to win these 2 races. So we checked that off. We won this one and gained a little bit of a gap again on everybody. So that was important. So we just got to go to Homestead and do it again.
What obviously the caution that comes out there mid race during the pit stops. What were your thoughts when that happened? Did it help, hurt? What kind of spot did it put you in?
I would say it was indifferent. If anything, it helped because I had just come out of the pits. I maybe ran a lap and a half hard on the tires, and then that was it. So I figured, I was like, well, we already pitted, so just keep the track position, just try to get to the front. Because like after botching qualifying and not doing any favors for myself, starting in 9th. We methodically moved our way up to the top 5, I think, right before we all started pitting, but it was just so hard to pass. So you had to get them quick, because if you were stuck behind somebody after 10 laps, you're pretty much, that was it. You were done. You couldn't do anything with them. So that yellow in the middle of the race actually was kind of nice because it bunched us all back together. I had a lot better tires than everybody around me, so I took advantage of that and just pushed to get to the lead, and we were able to hold on.
Yeah, and it worked out. Obviously, you get the advantage. I think it's 6 points now over Stefan Marinick as you go to Homestead, which you on worn-out surfaces is a pretty solid sign. So I think that's got to feel pretty good. You said you want to win one of these 2. How about 2 for 2?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's the plan. That was the goal going in, is try to win both the races before Daytona, just to kind of help relieve a little bit of the stress in that race. So yeah, I like Homestead. Homestead's been a good track to me, and I enjoy racing it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, great job tonight, man. Give some shout outs whoever you like to.
I appreciate you, Chris, Captain Esports, putting on the broadcast. All the admins at Sim500, I appreciate everything they do. NC811, I appreciate everything they do for Sunday, Monday, and just the league in general. They do a lot for Sim500, so shout out to them. Glenn Campbell and Transervice for sponsoring me this year. All the guys on Team Name, and then I just appreciate the family for letting me come and hang out for a couple hours.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations. 12 wins on the season. And I know that's got to be something you're proud of, especially you're right back up near that 50% range. So obviously doing your thing, and we'll see you next week at Homestead. We'll actually see you tomorrow night in Daytona a little early.
Yeah, let's have a little fun with that. But yeah, thanks, Chris.
He is a Super Speedway champion from 2022, so hey, he could pull it off, especially if I can win Super Speedway races now. But hey, best of luck, man. Great job tonight.
Thanks.
You too. Pedro Mojica going to Victory Lane here in Indianapolis, sweeps the Brickyard and wins it for a second straight time here in the Grand National Series. So good job on his end. And let's see if he's in here by chance. Okay, good. He's probably not. He is, he being Anthony Calantoni is probably not a happy camper right now. Not because of the race either. Anyways, all right, we're going to head out tomorrow night, Daytona. We look forward to seeing you for the race at 8:15 Eastern Time as the final race before the playoffs start for the Cup side in Sim500's 811 Cup Series. So appreciate the 811 people for sponsoring the series, and everyone there. Appreciate what you guys do. Not only that, but what you do just all together. I mean, I see 811 all over, sporting events and sponsors for events, and even on cars around here where I'm at, and always doing their work. So appreciate what they do. Appreciate Sim500 for allowing me to broadcast these series on Sunday and Monday nights, and even race with them on Friday nights. I'm always appreciative of that, and going from there. So let's go home and enjoy the rest of our Sunday evening. And if you're watching a football game, you could have came and watched the stream. I'm just saying. One to beat down here. This isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless. A sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be somebody to be. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, I just wanna be great. Yeah, yeah.